This is a video for the Dislyte boys. If you're not them, get out.
Hello and welcome back to Dislyte News, the Dislyte News for Dislyte News. New patch is coming up, and that means I'm talking about espers once again. Totally did not almost forgot about this like a few days ago. Okay, so let's start with the previous new esper first, Osana. So Osana, quite like mentioned before, pretty good for PvE boss content because of her damage dealing thing thanks to her attack buff, but there are already a lot of PvE DPS and she's not like one of the better ones. So if you already have a lot of other DPS, she's probably not gonna be that useful. But the upside is you only need R0 for Osana to work. So if you don't have enough DPS for Falsetto Fantasy, you can use Osana for now, but not really worth pulling her for that. So next up, we're gonna talk about the new espers coming out next patch. The first one, we have Lu Shang. So Lu Shang is a support esper, and as a support esper in Dislyte, you should know that he's pretty OP, just like every support esper that's come out recently. The really good thing about Lu Shang is that you only need R0 for him to work for every PvE content you put him in, and he is pretty good in PvE content. So for his results, it's more for PvP, so if you're a PvP kind of person and you want to use Lu Shang, you might need some resos, but in terms of PvE, R0 is enough. So the next esper, we have Meta Ling. Not to be mistaken with Ling. Yes, they're two separate espers. Meta Ling will be free in the next patch, so everyone will be getting at least one copy of him. He seems to be more towards PvP, but also in quite a weird spot currently because you need like at least 3 turns before he actually deals big damage. So it's kind of weird right now. Okay, so now let's talk about the weekly espers. For the first week, we have Ling and TA. Ling, not really worth pulling for. You're not gonna use Ling for anything much. But R1 Meta Ling says that for every reso you have of Ling and Meta Ling, his stats will also increase by like 5%. So if you want to like really increase the stats for Meta Ling R1, Ling might be a choice, but still not really that worth in my opinion. Next up we have TA. TA is still one of the best AP controllers out there, except, you know, Yuhime being Yuhime. And R0 is honestly enough. Any more than that, it's good, but not really necessary. For week 2, we have Hilda and Fumitsuki. Hilda, pretty good for most PvE content. Also pretty good for like Andrus. So if you're still struggling on Andrus, Hilda is pretty good. And the best part about Hilda is R0 is literally enough. Unless you're doing PvP, in which case you need R6. Next up, Fumitsuki. Fumitsuki, still a PvP only esper, except for Dark Star-Lord because she can both dispel and also do buff blocker. But for Dark Star-Lord, if you want a consistency, you might need an R2 Fumitsuki. And then for week 3, we have Fatima and Amir. Fatima is a skip. She's a PvP esper, but not really that strong enough for her to be in meta PvP. Amir, on the other hand, king of PvE wave content. Literally no one can beat him in wave content. For Amir, I would actually recommend an R2 as a minimum for this guy. He is really good for like any wave content. And if you already have R2, higher resos does make him better. So if you're willing to spend the wish stones on higher reso Amir, it can be good. So yeah, that's all the espers coming out next patch. There's apparently gonna be like a light mode Yun Chuan coming out sometime soon. I'm actually quite curious about that. Yeah, that's all. Share your stickers. Bye.